Hey, what is going on, everybody? James here with Heavyweight Politics, and today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different than normal. So last night, one of my friends sent me this video from Now This, and for those of you who don't know, Now This is kind of your typical far-left propagandist, right? And I use the term propagandist for a reason, and it's because they very rarely make an argument. They kind of just put out a bunch of buzzwords and attach some nice video and footage to it, and hey, there you go, push it out, and people just eat it up, right? They're strictly just propaganda more than anything else. But apparently they did a video with Representative Mondaire Jones. I'm probably saying that name wrong, but he's a congressman from New York, basically. And you know how, of course, we love those New Yorkers, right? We absolutely love those New Yorkers. But apparently he's making the argument right now that yes, we need to pack the Supreme Court, right? We should pack the Supreme Court. We should expand it and pack the Supreme Court. And this is something I think a lot of us have been kind of, saying was going to happen for a long time, right? Now, obviously, this is basically a random congressman. Congressmen are a dime a dozen. Let's face it. Everyone's met a congressman, so it's not really that big of a deal. But he might be a random congressman, but he's part of this growing trend of Democrats who are completely fine with saying their motives out loud at this point, right? He wants to pack the courts, and he wants everyone to know that it is a good thing to do. And again, this isn't surprising because we've all predicted this at this point. In fact, one of my videos I did just a day or so ago, I said the fact that the Supreme Court is probably just going to knock down the new eviction moratorium rules going in is probably something the Democrats are already preparing for, right? They're probably already expecting this to happen, and they probably already have a way of saying, you know what, this wouldn't happen if Trump didn't put those people on the Supreme Court. We need to expand the court. We need to expand the court in order to fix this injustice, right? So I'm pretty sure they're going to go that route after the eviction moratorium gets stricken down by the Supreme Court again. But it is funny now seeing them come right out and say it. So we're just going to go ahead and start this video here, just to kind of see what what his argument is for why we need to apparently expand the court, which of course is just court packing.
Save our democracy, we must expand the court.
So we have to expand the court to stop far-right assault on justice. Oh boy.
Our democracy is in crisis, and the Supreme Court has brought us here. Mitch McConnell and the GOP have described court expansion as court packing, but nothing could be further from the truth. The fact is, Mitch McConnell and the GOP have already packed the court by installing far-right justices to stolen seats.
Whoa. Okay, real quick. Come on now, you can't just say that. You can't suggest that an election was not, wasn't 100% true. Saying there's stolen seats, I mean, that's making some very, very dangerous assumptions about what happened during the 2016 election. I mean, you gotta be careful with this stuff now. I mean, Lord knows, I've gotten a strike just for mentioning very loosely what happened to me when I went to go vote. I mean, you saying that these seats were stolen. Oh boy, man, that's yeah, you're walking a tightrope there. I'll tell you what. Good thing you're Democrats, or else you would be taken down for that one. Oh boy. But real quick, let's address what he just said there. He said that the far right they've already packed the courts. By their definition of packing the courts, what it means is appointing justices that they just don't like to seats that are vacant, right? They didn't expand anything. They didn't forcefully pack the court. No, there were vacancies, and as the Constitution says, the president has a right to pick someone to, replace the vacant position, and the Senate approves or denies it. Well, he picked two people. He actually got three of them passed. It's funny they're actually leaving out his what was it? Was it Gorsuch? Was it Gorsuch was the other one? I'm about positive it is. They're leaving out one of his first picks and instead just calling out Kavanaugh and ACB, right? And saying that they're stolen seats because he appointed them near the end of his election, right? Is that what they're going with here? I mean, Kavanaugh was kind of towards the middle. But just the fact that he appointed people to fill a vacant seat is apparently enough for them to say it's a stolen seat as well as it's a packed court. This is a complete redefinition of what a packed court is, and it's done purposefully because they're trying to change the perception of what packing the court really is, because that way they can then push it through a bit easier, as well as by accusing Republicans of doing the exact same thing when they didn't. Let's face it, there's plenty of people who will buy into that crap left and right. But the truth is, there was vacancies. Trump appointed these people. They got approved by Senate. Everything went through the Constitution. Simple as that. There was nothing stolen. Look at me. I'm defending the integrity of an election here. What do you know?
Court expansion is about restoring balance to a far-right judiciary. That's why I've introduced the Judiciary Act of 2021, federal legislation to add 4 seats to the Supreme Court.
Add 4 seats. Add 4. That's very particular because how many seats did Trump fill? He filled 3. Adding in 4, what do you know? That's 1 more than Trump did. So of course that means I take it the Democrats will be the ones who appoint it, of course, because if the bill gets passed, who's president right now and who controls the Senate? Oh, that's right, it's the Democrats right now. This is flagrant court packing to restore balance, right? Restore balance like it's the force or something, right? This is about restoring balance. This is about, of course, making sure you get your people in there, because they can't stand when they lose. All right, of them trying to sit there and say that the right are the ones who question elections and are questioning everything. They're vowing all this stuff. It's always projection. The left has never accepted an election. They didn't accept Bush. They didn't accept Bush when he first won. They didn't accept. They didn't accept Trump when he won his first 2016 election either. They're not going to accept a future Republican either, right? They're not going to accept whoever wins in the future. And guess what? There will be eventually another Republican president. Right? These things, they go back and forth, right? They're not going to accept that one either. Let's be perfectly honest here, right? But because they can't accept the fact they lost the Supreme Court battle, they're now looking at just, hey, why don't we just pack the court with our people, right? That just makes it, we'll bring it up to 13 and then boom, there we go. We're set. We're set.
Bringing it from 9 to 13. Today, we find ourselves in another moment of reckoning. The Supreme Court has invited a torrent of dark money to flow into our electoral process, allowing billionaires and special interests to control our political process.
I actually somewhat agree on this point. I mean, doing wrong, you get a right to do with what do what you want with your own money. Like that's totally true. But we do have a lot of dark money in politics for sure, which is partly why I'm in support of whoever says they're going to reduce the size of government. Because tell me this: if the government gets bigger and more powerful, is that going to encourage or discourage people to try to scheme the system more? The stronger the government is, the more incentive there is for people to try and game the system, right? That's going to happen. So I'm actually agreeing. I'll give them that there was a lot of dark money there.
It gutted the protections of the Voting Rights Act.
Okay, now I'm back disagreeing with them. That was quick. That was a really quick turnaround, my man. Great job. All right, I don't think I've turned around that quick before. I just flipped there faster than Fauci. My God. Gutted the protection of the Voting Rights Act. Because saying you need an ID to vote is apparently racist. Saying that that we should actually do audits on our elections is apparently racist. Saying that we need to just secure our elections is apparently racist. Everything's got to be racist these days, right? I mean, come on. If you say you are treated like a lunatic, if you even recommend, hey, you know what? Maybe we should not actually allow everyone to vote, right? I mean, you're treated like a lunatic for saying this thing when this is pretty much, we talked about this in the very beginning of our country's foundation, that they spoke heavily against the idea of democracy. Yeah, if you even mention the fact, maybe everyone shouldn't vote. Oh, you are a terrible human being. You don't believe in democracy. No, I do not believe in democracy. I believe in the ideas of a republic. And I believe our elections should be, secure. They should be safe. I believe we should have IDs. I believe that we should maybe have some restrictions who can and can't vote. Guess what? I think if you don't put in any money in taxes, you shouldn't get a vote. Simple as that. Nearly 50% of this country, you might pay income tax and all that, but the honest truth is you're going to get almost all of it back in your tax return at the end of the year. All right, I've been in the tax industry. You'll be amazed at how much money these people get at the end of the year. Sometimes it's about half of what they made for the entire year. It is insane how our tax system really works. And if you aren't providing towards our country, you know what? You shouldn't get a vote. You should not get a vote. Simple as that, in my opinion. But the Voting Rights Act that they try to push through, and of course they use these good names at Voting Rights Act, it allowed for basically a system that can never be checked, a system that can never be audited, a system that basically allows anyone and everyone to vote regardless of regardless of even stuff like immigration status in some instances, right? You only have some states allowing illegal immigrants now to vote, and stuff like the Voting Rights Act basically said, yeah, that stuff is, that's kind of okay. That's just fine. They wanted to bring down the voting age. They wanted to sit there and make it so mail-in voting is now the standard. Well, of course, we have no chain of custody when stuff like that happens. The Voting Rights Act was a complete bag of you know what. It made no sense. Absolute lunacy.
And paved the way for a new era of racist voter suppression. We learned a lot from how the Supreme Court influences voting rights from the Shelby case. An original section of the 1965 Voting Rights Act required historically discriminatory jurisdictions to submit proposed changes to voting procedures to the DOJ or a federal district court in order to ensure it wouldn't jeopardize black and brown voters. In 2013, the Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional by making it harder for people to vote in cases like Shelby County and easier for big money special interests to flood our political process in cases like Citizens United. Supreme Court decisions helped to install Donald Trump in the White House, who returned the favor by...
You know who's worse than Donald Trump? Apparently the Supreme Court. They're still playing the Trump card. They're still trying to play the Trump card. It is hysterical. Listen, he's out of the office. He's done, all right? Don't worry about him anymore. I mean, he might run again. We'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be totally opposed to it. But he's no longer an office man. Like, are you joking? According to you, the system, you know, if the elections were as right as you probably claimed they were in 2020, then I assume you think that the big money apparently didn't win, right? The fact they're actually blaming the Supreme Court for Trump winning in 2016 is absolutely hysterical. They won't blame Hillary Clinton, who was possibly the worst candidate ever in political history. No. It was thanks to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court got Donald Trump in office.
Installing more far-right justices in order to lock us into another generation of minority rule. But we are not powerless to stop it. We, the people, have the power to expand the size of the Supreme Court. And we've done it before. 7 times in our nation's history, we changed the size of the Supreme Court, including twice during the period of Reconstruction.
Okay, real quick on that point. Yes, we've changed the size of the Supreme Court. Do you know why? Because our country got bigger. Because our country's, you know, population expanded rapidly, right? And you're looking at this, you know, how small our country started and how many states got added as we went on. It's pretty amazing when you see how large we've become since, you know, from where our roots are. So of course, the Supreme Court is going to be expanded multiple times in the process when it comes to adding in more and more and more states and having a bigger and bigger country. Right? We haven't added anything in a long time. There's no reason to expand it now. Now, of course, in this idea of Reconstruction, how well did Reconstruction work? I'm just going to throw it out there. How well did Reconstruction work? It went terribly. It went awful. It was a complete train wreck. Instead, instilled probably just as much division as there was before. It wasn't an open warfare at that point. Now, I'm not saying Reconstruction in essence was a bad thing. Obviously, we needed to come together to some regard after, you know, a bloody civil war. And obviously, you know, now we're pretty set, right? I mean, I'm in North Carolina, which was a southern state, yet I travel routinely up to some northern states, right? I mean, and we don't think anything of it. The fact that we actually healed from such a bloody civil war is actually amazing in itself. But the Reconstruction era did not go well and had tons of problems. And partly, it was probably because of things like that, where we just kind of shoved changes down people's throats without giving them any representation, so they still felt they weren't really Americans. So, again, he's pointing up to examples that are completely different points of history. One, or, two of the cases was during right after a civil war, and the other cases all happened as we were expanding as a country. We've been the same size for quite a while at this point. There's nothing that's happened that makes us need to expand the size any more than what it is now. It's as simple as that.
When Congress changed the size of the court to prevent white supremacists from controlling it. Today, we must
So, and also I'm going to put it this way, he's now drawing comparisons from people like Kavanaugh and ACB and Gorsuch, and he's basically drawing kind of connections between them and white supremacists is what he's doing, which is absolute it's lunacy. Just total lunacy.
Expand the size of the Supreme Court again in order to protect our democracy. By expanding the court, we can stop the far-right assault on voting rights, reproductive freedom, economic justice, and so much more.
On the case of reproductive freedom, if Roe v. Wade if we just abolish Roe v. Wade, the states could still actually legislate their own abortion laws, strange enough. So a place like New York would still go crazy with abortions. A place like Virginia, where the governor literally said that you can kill a child after it's been born. That was in Virginia. Look it up. Governor said you can kill a child after it has been born. So crazy people like that will still be able to have their own abortion laws. The only thing that would really change is that the states would be the ones responsible for creating the laws, not the federal government. Which, if anything, is the right move. Even if you believe abortion is morally correct, it's still the right move because it goes with our Constitution. Now, of course, I believe that life starts at conception, so I think it's the only biological argument you can actually make on the subject, so I'm against abortion altogether. But even if you are for abortion, getting rid of Roe v. Wade makes sense on a constitutional basis. So that would not stop reproductive rights.
Today, we can expand the court and have a court that is committed to government by the people instead of government by the powerful. But only if we fight for it. Only if we pass the Judiciary Act of 2021. Are you with us?
Okay, real quick, no one's going to be with them. And I'll tell you exactly why. Because the Democrats know 2022 is going to be difficult. They understand 22 is going to be very, very difficult. The reality is that more than likely Republicans will take the Senate in 2022. It's just how things go. If there's a Republican in charge, typically Democrats sweep. If there's a Democrat in charge, typically Republicans sweep. It's just kind of how American politics works. Makes no sense to me, but hey, it's just how it goes. So more than likely, Republicans are going to take control of the Senate going forward there. So then what happens? They just expand the court to 13. Republicans hold their ground, say we're not going to appoint anyone. Republican possibly wins in 2022 or 2024. And now they get to appoint them? No, they're not going to take that risk. Not yet. If they had a more secure hold on the Senate and Congress, I guarantee you they would. I truly do think right now there's many people like him who truly believe the ends justify the means, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to push their ideology down on the rest of the country. Whether you live in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, or whether you live in his district in New York, he will make sure you live under his rules if he had the chance. Obviously, again, this dude for the most part is a nobody, but he is a he is a congressman. I shouldn't say nobody. He's a low-level congressman, but at the end of the day, he does speak for a Democrat Party. Now this is a major, major platform. And the fact that they're just openly right now saying, yes, expand the court. Yes, court packing. Well, it's not really court packing. What the Republicans did, appointing people, constitutionally, that was court packing. But expanding the court isn't court packing. Because, of course, they don't mention the fact that all four of those justices are going to be set up by, of course, Democrats. Right? It's not going to be an even split. It's going to be only Democrat justices at that point. They just want to ram down whatever they can because that's what it takes. But, of course, they're just so open and in your face about it now. It's just amazing. It truly is. Either way, thank you for sending me the video. You know who you are. So thank you so much for seeing this video. Obviously, now this absolutely a bunch of loons. But hey, what you gonna do? Either way, if you have enjoyed this video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. What do you think is going to happen? Will they actually pack the court before 2022, or will they pack it even before 2024? What do you think below? And of course, check us out on some of the other platforms. You know, we're over on BitChute, we're over on Minds, we're over on Odyssey now. You know, of course, we're on Twitch as well, just streaming, you know, of course, games, just regular stuff if you want to hop in and talk there as well. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.